Right, so I would like to call the December 11th, 2020 Town of Yarmouth Disability Commission meeting to order. And we'll begin first with a roll call.
Shall I read the governor's?
Oh, yes, I guess
meeting
that's a requirement, right? We got to make sure we do that.
Yes, sir. So pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law 30A, Chapter 18, and the governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing a limitation on the number of people that may gather in one location, this meeting will be conducted via remote participation. Specific information such as instructions and guidelines for remote by members of the public and or parties with the right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town website at www.yarmouth.ma.us. For the public portion of this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch or listen and participate in the meeting may do so by going to the town website, the Agenda Center, opening up the Disability Committee agenda for December 11th, 2020, and clicking on the YouTube, Zoom link. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. So let's do a roll call first. And from the town of Yarmouth, we have the Director of Community Services, Pat Armstrong.
Here.
And the Director of Human Resources, Sarah O'Reilly.
Hi, here.
And for the members of the committee, the Chair, Dave Botting, that would be me. Vice Chair, Evelyn Beal.
No.
No?
Secretary, Evelyn Beal, Vice Chair.
Oh, sorry. It's been a long day, folks. You have no idea. Vice Chair, Evelyn Beal.
No, Gail Charette.
What am I doing wrong? Yes, again, twice in a row. I resign. Good luck to all of you. Thank you very much. I'm out.
You're already punchy.
We're not accepting your resignation, just so you know.
So can we delete that recording and start again? I'm kidding. All right.
Gail Charette, Vice Chair.
Our Vice Chair, Gail Charette.
Here.
All right. And our clerk,
Evelyn Beal, present.
Thank you. Allie Cash. I don't hear her. Drew Krause.
Here.
Sharon Ladley is not here. Oh,
She's just coming on now.
She's just joining, it looks like.
Trying to anyway.
Let's give her a second.
There she is. Off and on.
Sharon, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Sharon.
I was clicking a link that Sarah sent out last month.
It's okay.
Pat sent out the other day. So that's
We're taking roll call, so I just need you to say here when I say your name, all right? Sharon Ladley?
here.
Very good. And Jody Warner. I do not see or hear Jody at this time. Okay. November minutes. Hopefully everyone had a chance to review those. Is there any discussion? Questions around?
We needed an amendment about Jody's presence on the last meeting. He was supposed to tell us what to write as an amendment. He's not here, we can't do it.
Right. So at the moment, the minutes read that Jody Warner was present, but with technical difficulties because we could see him on the Zoom call, but we couldn't hear. I mean, we could see he was logged on. We couldn't see a video, nor could we hear his audio. But there was a box on the screen indicating he was with us. So at the moment, the minutes read Jody Warner was present, but with technical difficulties.
Okay.
So is everyone comfortable to leave it that way?
I am.
I think it's fine. I think we do that. So if there's no objections, that can stand. Any other amendments or comments about the minutes that we need to consider before we take a vote? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I move we approve the minutes.
November 13th. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Sharon. So Drew moved the motion, and Sharon was the second. Any further discussion? All right, I'm going to take a roll call of the vote. So Dave Botting, I say yes. Gail,
Yes.
Evelyn,
Yes,
Drew,
Yes,
Sharon.
Yes.
All right, it's passed. Very good. All right, old business. I think we were all hoping that Ally would be on this call because I think the last indication was she was going to find her way downtown, get sworn in, and participate and become part of this committee, but I'm not seeing her. Has anyone heard from her? No. I suggest we let this go till next month and see what happens. Evelyn, do you have any contact with Ally at all?
no, I don't personally know, but I did send her several text messages, say, let us know what your status is. And she had, that last month, she'd said she's going to go to the town hall and get sworn in. I have not heard since then. And since we're not supposed to talk to one another, I didn't know if I should call her or not.
Only in a majority
Right.
collection. You can speak on one-on-one. You just can't speak as a group about items that would be discussed and voted on at the meetings. So Evelyn, you're more than welcome to give her a call if you have that contact number and let
Yes.
us know what's happening.
Fine, thank you.
Thanks, Pat, for that clarification. I think we're all trying to learn about the rules and regulations and the thinking of behind the town sometimes. I'm sure there's a method to their madness. We're just still trying to figure it out.
The state did that one to us, wasn't the town.
Okay. Number 2, has the Disability Summit been rescheduled? Drew and Sharon, have you heard anything?
no, sir.
Nope.
I looked on their website and there's no reference to a new summit at the moment.
Okay.
I haven't received an email. Nor has
I
Sharon, I
suspect,
guess.
yeah, with COVID, that will probably continue to get pushed out until there's a little more certainty. I think we just keep our eyes on this one. I think it'd be worthwhile to participate in some manner when they're ready to do it. But for now, it doesn't appear that we have anything scheduled. Okay, next up, the Community Visionary Project. I have to admit, I was drawing a blank on exactly what that item was. Evelyn, maybe you can help me on that.
That was, Drew had told us about that committee and Community Visionary Project. And I don't think we know too much about it. I just thought that maybe he'd have additional information as to whether we should join it or look into it or whatever.
That's the town initiative, right, Pat?
It is. It's actually called the Visioning. It's a visioning. It's a project led by Kathy Williams and the planning department to get input from community members on what it is they like about our community and how they feel we could grow it and improve it in time. They're on their 3rd survey and input. Drew's been participating in those meetings, I believe, representing the
Participated in the first one.
All right, so
I watched the second one on YouTube, and so I know Sharon was at.
Was on it. I was in the second session.
and how do you feel that it's going, or can you explain a little bit to David the concept, the umbrella concept?
Well, Drew, did you do this? I know you and I both listened to the preliminary, and
Yeah.
then they scheduled these workshops. There's 3 workshops, but they've
Right.
already had 2. Did you do either of the workshops?
I did the first one.
Oh, all right, and I did the second.
I was
All right.
watching the second one on YouTube, and I saw you participating. They
Yeah.
didn't show the workshops, but they showed the whole the group.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Sharon, explain what your experience.
My experience was very positive because it was a large group, and large groups can be very difficult. They did a preliminary, explained what they were going to do, and then they broke us apart into breakout groups. My breakout group had, I think 6. So you really had a chance to talk, and there was a facilitator. Facilitator was probably from the planning board, or it could have been a staff person. And we were asked 3 questions. First is, what are the positives in the town? What do we see as positive things? Second was, what do we see as negative things? And third was to come up with a vision of the town or for the town. And after every group, and it was timed, it was very well organized. We all came together and shared the visions. But the whole thing was scribed or recorded. I don't know how they did the breakouts, but there's records, and they're definitely going to be reviewing it. And my understanding is, Pat would know better, after the 3rd session, which I believe is this coming week, they are then going to get together and consolidate all the information and do a 3rd large group meeting in the spring.
That's right. And then they'll take that information and use it to build a strategic plan to move us forward in the next 10 and 20 years, and look out for, what are the changes coming that we can utilize to make changes and improvements of our community? Where can we locate a town center where events can happen and will draw our community? How will the sewering down 28 impact? And how soon will that happen? I heard last night, I believe, that not a drop of effluent will hit the ground until 2026. So we'll have, 5 years of construction and uncomfortable and detours, and then all of a sudden, then it'll start working. What change will that make? Will it increase our development now that there's sewers? Will there be more cluster housing? Will there be different types of businesses that will allow for more jobs? Where are we citing those? How are we using the Matakees property once it's not being used as a school anymore? So there's just an awful lot of good information coming through, as well as acknowledgement of good programs that are already here and impacting Yarmouth and making it a good place to live today.
So I think the question then that should be asked of this group is how should we view this initiative by the town through the lens of the Disability Commission? Are there opportunities or things we should be thinking about with our Disability Commission hat on, in terms of getting involved and getting engaged in this, or participating in a way as representing this commission? Any thoughts, Drew or Sharon, on that?
Well, there's still time to sign up for the 3rd workshop, which you could look at the town website, unless Pat happens to know off the top of her head which date. But I was on it, and well, we had to each introduce ourselves. I introduced myself as saying I was part of the Disability Commission and the Age-Friendly Community Team, and that I was looking at things from the point of view of making the town a more comfortable place to live in, which was the sidewalks, among other things. The roads are terrible, but so there's still an opportunity if anybody from the commission wants to get into this 3rd session. I'm sure there's room, or they'd let you in, because they want townwide participation.
So getting their voices heard as members of the Disability Commission with concerns related to disability issues is really what you're saying. That's the opportunity.
Yeah, and it's here, it's now.
Gail, would you be interested in hearing about this?
Yes,
Could you quickly just give me your email?
Gail on, I changed my email.
Hey.
Hold on.
61.
Gail on Cape 61@gmail.com.
Okay.
Yeah,
Would you
the
like to,
third,
would you like it
that's
to,
from
Evelyn?
I would not be able to do that.
Okay.
I would like to,
G-
but
Okay, so David and Gail, I've got both of you, I've just sent you the invite from Kathy Williams
Okay.
on my phone, so it
Thank
should
you.
be in your email.
Okay.
So I kind of feel like if we have been up and running for a number of years, there may be more issues we could bring forward as a commission. But where we're just kind of getting started, I'm not sure we have something, and correct me if I'm wrong, that as a group, we would want to make sure we're getting across, other than just the general concerns about accessibility. Is fair statement, or what do you guys think?
I do know. I'm sorry, I'm staff. I'll put my 2 cents in later.
Well, I agree with you, but in other words, you're going to be part of another Zoom meeting with, 50 or 100 people, and so you can introduce yourself and say who you are. And some of those people will, they'll be on the planning board. There'll be other interested residents, and it's a start.
Right.
I think.
Evelyn?
I would think that with Drew and Sharon and Gail and you going on, that's a good representation, and you could bring back to the committee things that we should know about and be able to support. But I'm not able to physically go, so I think that would be a way to say we have our presence on the committee.
So,
Pat?
also, I remember a couple years ago when Drew and Sharon, you could help me here, Kathy Bailey, when she was still with us as Director of Senior Services, participated in a walkability survey of Route 28 and with the state. And yes, because that's their road and their sidewalk could control. So I think that might be a place that study was well done. It's somewhat new. It wouldn't have to be refreshed. And if there was anything in terms of overall, in terms of planning and now the sewers, and they're going to be pulling up 28, and I'm sure that's going to impact the not only the curbs, but also the sidewalks. That might be a place that would be pertinent to say, to focus on that and make sure that those cuts and those accessibilities are there and the telephone poles are out of the middle of the sidewalks and some of that's already there. Yes, Evelyn, don't you?
The group, the night that I participated, there was people of all ages made a big point of talking about sidewalks and walkability and bike path improvements, which included young mothers and older people. So that's a bringing together kind of a thing, that people are concerned about for various reasons, kind of goes with that town center thing, just the general sense of, gee, I wish we had more of a, I don't know if it's doable or not, but that's a big thing that's on people's minds.
That's
Evelyn?
interesting, Drew, because mine was in the morning, so it was more of an older group.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to hear the other age groups have the similar concerns. Our
Yeah.
gut reaction on the age-friendly team has always been that was the case.
Yeah.
And Jeff Colby was part of that walkability study. He may actually have records relating to it.
I'm sure that's where they are. I'm sure that's where it is.
Okay.
I'll
Evelyn,
call
did
and
you-
see if I can get a copy for us and send it to you. Would you like that, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Evelyn, did you want to add something?
I didn't, well, I would like to be part of that, but my scooter has a lot of problems with going around town. So that is an issue that I'm interested in if I can be of service at any time.
These sessions, are they held remote now? No? Is there a way Evelyn
We're
can
talking
join?
about a meeting just like we're having right now, Evelyn, a Zoom thing that you would be part of.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, yeah.
Oh.
Do you think that we're talking about a meeting that you have to go to in person? We're not.
Oh, then I would be
Talking
interested.
about just exactly like this, only it's hosted by the planning board of the
Okay.
town. of
Yes,
Yarmouth.
I would be interested.
Yeah.
All right, so Pat, you're going to send that to Evelyn as well? All right. So I think what I'm hearing is that, it's important that the members of this commission participate to the extent that they can in upcoming meetings and at least begin to introduce themselves and get out there and start talking about some of the issues we know will be important. I don't think we have any specific agenda items other than what Pat brought up, the study that was done a while ago. But just getting out there and starting to have our voices heard is important. So I'll encourage all of you, to the extent you can, participate to do so. Any other questions on that subject at the moment? Okay. So moving on, I believe we're going to hear from Drew, Sharon, and Gail, who headed up a subcommittee to consider the mission statement and or both a vision statement. And I think this is a document that we hope we'd be able to share on the screen here, either
Right.
Pat or Sarah can do for us.
Oh, I
Pat,
thought
do
it
you want
was.
to make me the presenter, and I can do it? I've got it already.
Okay, good.
Pull up David's spreadsheet. You could do the next one.
Oh, you've got it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't have the spreadsheet though, Sarah.
Okay.
All right, so who wants to speak for the subcommittee? Drew, is that going to be you?
Yes.
Oh, maybe.
Gail and I decided.
All right, Drew, you're up.
Well, the three of us met just like this, just like we are now, and we each wrote our version. Mine was based on your version, Dave, I thought, and then we discussed and we tweaked and we got input from Sarah, I believe, and this is what we came up with. And should I read it aloud or what?
Yes.
Is that the idea?
Yeah, why don't you do that? If you
Okay.
don't mind.
No. Mission statement. The Disability Commission advises and assists the town of Yarmouth to ensure it complies with federal and state regulations regarding people with physical, intellectual, or developmental disabilities. We endeavor to educate and raise awareness to our community about the needs and rights of people with disabilities. The commission functions as a liaison between concerned residents and the town. Our vision: the town of Yarmouth emphasizes integration and inclusion for all its residents living with a disability. Our community is welcoming and accessible to all. Yeah, I think as I read that, I had a quibble with one grammatical point. We endeavor, in the first paragraph, we endeavor to educate and raise awareness in our community, I believe, rather than to our community. Other than that, I think that's what we came up with.
Yes, good point.
Not
Yeah,
sure I can change it, folks, but
Yeah, it's just something that I noticed as I was reading
did.
it.
here we are. It's changed.
Okay, so let's hear from members of the commission. Thoughts? Comments?
Well, I got my finger up. I think the first part of it is mission statement is wonderful. And I think the second part, I would like if it was inserted and just all those words together. But if you said the town of Yarmouth community is welcoming and accessible to all and emphasizes integration and inclusion for all its residents living with a disability. Just a switch of.
Oh, you mean put the last sentence first?
Yeah, but not with the art. The town of Yarmouth community. Delete the hour. Community is welcoming, accessible to all, and emphasizes.
Maybe grammatically, we might want to say the town of Yarmouth as a community is welcoming and accessible to all.
And then you got to get the
emphasizes
integration and inclusion.
Well, then one way to do that would be to then have a second sentence to say that it emphasizes or we emphasize integration and inclusion.
Yeah, that it gets to the,
No,
gets to the
then,
Texas.
You're working on that, huh, Pat?
I am.
I see.
Doesn't like, that's because it has to be an N. As an
No,
Yeah.
it should be as a community.
community. Yes, thank you. I'm like, wait a minute, that's wrong.
I like is a community, not as a community.
Is a
That's what we
community
are.
that emphasizes, then you have to put that.
No, I think the town of Yarmouth is a community that emphasizes.
Right, that. I'm
Oh,
saying
sorry, yeah,
that in there. That's all. There you go.
that emphasize it.
Emphasizes, and then you.
I think you
erase
want to
that
say the
second
town
word.
of Yarmouth is a community. Yeah, thank you. You're doing what I was thinking.
That emphasizes integration, and I forgot the other parts. Oh, okay,
Inclusion.
yeah. For all its residents living with a disability.
This is some lightning speed switching.
And then
around.
at the end, Yarmouth is welcoming and accessible to all.
No,
All right.
but
I think Evelyn's idea was to start with the town of Yarmouth is welcoming and accessible to all. Is that right, Evelyn?
the town of Yarmouth community, yes, is
You wanna
welcoming.
say Town of
to all,
Yarmouth community.
emphasizes.
The town
No.
of Yarmouth is a welcoming community, comma,
Town-
accessible to all, comma, that emphasizes integration and inclusion for all its residents living with a disability. It's a mouthful, but
But I don't think you need, if you just said the town of Yarmouth community, you don't need is a community.
That's
Town-
correct.
Community.
But you know, I'm getting this in from all of you, so I thank you for giving me a
You're
chance.
getting there.
I think you forgot the accessible part. That's important.
You think so?
Yeah, that's kind of why we're here, right?
So where do you want me to put that in?
Town of Yarmouth community
Yeah,
is
I kind of like the,
welcoming and
Evelyn, I kind of like the way it appears on the screen now for the beginning.
we don't need a comma after Yarmouth.
Do we have to put the town of Yarmouth? Could we just put Yarmouth is a,
Yeah, we can just say Yarmouth rather than the town of Yarmouth. If you
I
want.
think it should be the town of Yarmouth.
yeah.
okay,
It's a welcoming community.
It's a welcoming community, comma, accessible to all, comma, that emphasizes and go on with the rest of that.
Mhm.
Comma space.
Kind of cool the way it is now. If we get
I like this.
commas.
well, it's welcoming for everybody, including its residents
Right.
living with a disability. You don't want to just say for residents living with a disability. It's kind of for all of its residents.
Yep.
Residents, comma, including those living with a disability. It's a lot of commas in one word, one letter, one sentence.
Town of Yarmouth, well, this is the Disability Commission. So the town of Yarmouth is a welcoming community, accessible for all, that emphasizes integration and inclusion for all its residents living with a disability.
Yeah, we got all the keywords in, right? Welcoming, accessible, integration, inclusion.
Do you need the living with a disability? Because the mission has it.
I don't think you do. I think once you just say inclusion for all residents, I think that's it.
I do too, Gail.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now and I think so too. I think it's redundant.
Yep.
And
And Drew taught us is keep the
Town of
words
Yarmouth,
down.
welcoming community, accessible for all, that emphasizes integration and inclusion for all its residents. I sort of don't like the fact that there's two alls there. That's just a style thing, but it's
Okay, let's see if we,
Take out the second all.
not a substance thing.
Take out the second one.
Yeah, I think so too. Take out the second off.
And then with the mission goes with the disability commission, what we do. Our vision is about the town and the mission is what we are.
You're right.
Here's a question. Are we saying that we emphasize integration and inclusion just for residents?
Oh,
Hmm. So take out for its residents.
For all.
I think that's better. Yeah.
Just end at inclusion.
I don't think that says it.
I think it has, too many words. We need to get down to 6.
6 for a vision statement. Sound like Drew.
Of
That's
Yarmouth,
not-
welcoming community that emphasizes integration, inclusion,
And accessibility for all,
and accessibility.
for all. Or just
Okay, yeah,
accessibility.
there you go.
That's good.
That's cool
Yeah.
for all, yeah.
Integration, comma, inclusion, comma, and accessibility for all.
That's not bad.
I like that.
I'll be right back.
And then take out accessible for all at the middle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Town of Yarmouth is a welcoming community that emphasizes integration, inclusion. Well, that reads pretty well.
It's
Mhm.
almost 6 words, Pat.
And it's
I was
short.
pretty impressed.
Yeah.
All right, I got one more for you. And this is only because I've struggled through visioning statements recently. One of the things I know that's always emphasized when you're talking about visioning statements is it needs to be forward thinking.
Oh,
It doesn't state what you are today. That's more about your mission. The idea behind a vision is to project something that you want to be down the road, where you want to be, forward looking. And so one idea to maybe kind of make it more forward looking is to say, instead of is a welcoming community, replace that with will be a welcoming community. Now,
Yeah.
the only struggle I have with that is it kind of implies that we're not today.
well,
And I'm not sure that's fair.
My thought was that the vision is what we want to become, but we don't say we want to become this. We just say that's us. That's Yarmouth in the year 2021.
Pat,
Well-
you just typed that in. I kind of like that.
What?
that's kind of clever.
She wrote will always be.
Yeah. I think
Does
that's
that kind of is a nod to the fact that we already are, but the vision or forward-looking part of this is
Right.
that we
Yeah.
will continue
That
to.
works. That works.
I like that.
I
Yeah.
did.
Good job, Pat.
Thank you.
I like that.
You all inspire me.
Good.
All right, one last look through, because I'd like to vote on this today, because I think we're at a consensus point here, but I just want to be sure. Is everyone comfortable with this mission statement and vision statement?
I feel that way, right?
I
Beth?
do.
I do too. I'll make a motion that we accept it as written.
Thank you, Evelyn. Do I have a second?
I second it.
That was Gail.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Gail. Any other discussion, comments before I go to a roll call on this one? Okay, Dave Botting, yay. Gail Charette,
Yes.
Evelyn Beal,
A,
Drew Kraus,
Yes.
Sharon Ladley.
Yes.
Folks, congratulations. We have a mission statement and we have a vision statement.
Very good.
First, I want to thank the subcommittee, Drew, Sharon, and Gail for helping us get this done. You guys did a great job. Thank you so much for your work. Pat, question for you. Can you work to get this up on the website? With,
I can, Mr. Chairman, I believe that is this, Sarah, help me with this. This isn't a charge. This is just a mission and a vision statement. So we can put it up and it doesn't require the Board of Selectmen's input or approval, correct? Yeah, I believe that's true as well. Yes, sir. I'll get this up. I've got it saved here on my thumb drive and I can get it up on the website.
excellent. Thank you very much.
Happy to do it.
Okay, moving on, new business. Checking the clock here where we're at. So the first item on the new business was a tracker that I had put together. We talked last time about how, you know, one of the charges, in fact, the first charge, I think, for this commission was the responsibility of researching local problems of people with disabilities. And at least the way my mind thinks is very logical, organized, is, you know, how do we just keep track of what I anticipate will be things coming into this commission and wanting to track them appropriately. So Sarah or Pat, one of you, are you able to share it or do you want me to share it? I don't know if I can share. I guess I can't.
I can share. Sarah, you got it? Good, hold on.
Okay. So I don't know if you guys are going to be able to read it. Let me just kind of walk you through it real quick. I mean, this isn't rocket science. I mean, I just slapped this together. But basically the idea is this, that every issue or problem that's brought forward to the commission would be assigned a log number. And therefore it's a great way to track those that do come in. My proposal is we assign it to a champion, for lack of a better word. That would be someone on the commission that would take ownership of that particular problem or issue and be the one that would kind of lead us through the process of analyzing it, discussing it, coming up with a solution. Again, I'm anticipating, you know, over time, we may have at any one time 3, 4, maybe even more issues in front of us, and just finding a very organized way to talk about them, work through them, and document the discussions and the solutions. I feel it's important that there's be one person kind of championing each one. So that could be on a rotation basis. People could sign up and say, oh, that one's really hits home for me. I'd like to champion that one, or we just assign it. And then, you know, we'll give it a name, a title, I guess, if you will. We'll track who reported in the first place, their contact information, brief description, and any notes. And I don't know if you can see at the bottom, I'm actually proposing we keep 2 sheets, an open sheet and a closed sheet.
I see.
And so as things are resolved and it comes to an end, we just move it off our open list. And then at each meeting, you know, we start each meeting, maybe not start, but at each meeting, we would pull up the tracker and say, okay, what are we working on and what's the status? What's the update? Questions? Look, I've been often accused of being somewhat anal about things at certain times, pardon my French. It's just the way my mind thinks. If you think this is too much and we don't need something like this, you know, let me know.
I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking it's fine. And the idea of a champion, so-called, makes sense to me. But maybe others feel this way. I don't really have a feel for how it's all going to play out, whether there'll be lots of things or hardly anything, or big groups that all are grouped together, or just separate things. It's like a mystery to me. So
I feel the same way, Drew. And I was thinking if we could put together a subcommittee and then just come up with a mock, report from somebody. Like we just come up with something and then we walk it through and see how we do it. You know, like if it's going on the web, right? This is the questions going on the web?
I wasn't thinking, I thought I saw this as an internal document, and I'll turn to
Oh,
Sarah
okay.
and Pat to make sure that that's appropriate. I saw this as an internal document we would just use to keep track of the issues we were addressing.
I
Yes,
think the intent here would be, we have the contact us form on the web, and that when someone fills out that form, that information would be transcribed over to this to then track all those potential items that are raised. And over time, then you're able to see if there's any trends or consistencies with concerns that are being raised. And also it kind of keeps us honest, right? To be able to make sure that we've taken those items that are being raised to fruition and resolve them to the extent that we can, and close them out, if you will, so that the person that raised it has had some follow-up.
Right, we're using the web, the contact slips, right?
Mhm.
So this new or linked to prior issue, I don't understand that.
What I was thinking there, Gail, was, someone may bring an issue in front of this committee, say in January, and then in July, someone may come along with an issue that really ties back to one that we're already working on.
Okay,
And so what I was starting to think about was, well, then you'd want to group like items perhaps. And that was my thought in adding that column.
I think that's a good idea, because then if it's repetitive, then it's something that we may want to jump on.
Right.
That's a big concern. I like the idea of tracking. I just, in my head, I need to have, maybe see something that, you just sort of like make it up, and then we just maybe use this for our own internal use. And then once I can see it, I can understand. Kind of crazy, but that's what I'm thinking.
What do others think? I mean, we can certainly, run through a test example if someone wanted to create something, and then we could, at a future meeting, just go through and say, all right, what would this look like? And Gail, maybe if you want it for the next meeting, create a dummy.
All right, I'll do
issue,
that, because
and
then
then we
I
can
could visualize it. Yeah.
And then we
okay.
can sit here and just say, okay, so here's how it would go. And then we can fill it out and test that. Does that sound like a good idea for everybody?
Oh, very
Can I
good.
make a suggestion related to that?
Yeah, Sarah.
Gail, when you come up with your scenario, will you put it into the website?
Oh,
Yes.
good idea.
Will you fill
Yeah.
out the form?
Yes, 'cause then I'd like-
just put
yeah.
test after or something, so we know, we kind of know.
Okay.
But it
I
would be
can do
nice
that.
to just know that whole process from the beginning works.
Yeah, I would like to do that, because then I can visualize it, because right now I can't understand, I don't
That
see how
would
it's
be
gonna go
great.
from point A to point. Okay, good. I can do that.
Great. And, Drew, I agree with you. I'm not quite sure. Are we gonna, we're gonna get flooded with requests? Is it gonna be just 1 and 2? I don't know either, but I thought we should at least have something ready from the start to
Yeah.
begin tracking before this got away from us, and down
Yeah.
the road, maybe, you've got, a ton, and we hadn't started using this, and we'd be
Right.
playing catch up. So,
And here's another thing, if they're not using it, then we need to find out, why people, I'm sure, have concerns. They're not using the web page, so we have to find other ways to make sure that they communicate with us. And that's what we're gonna talk about.
and
next.
that's a perfect lead into the next item on the agenda.
Correct.
Thank you very much,
Chairman?
Gail, for
Wait a
that.
minute, Dave,
I think Evelyn was raising her hand politely.
Thank you,
I-
Sarah.
I think that's a fabulous outline. My only thought is, how could you possibly get all the information on such a tiny space?
There's ways to expand the cell, where as you type more, you can actually, the cell will grow in size.
Oh,
So, yeah, so there's a way to accommodate that, Evelyn.
okay.
Dave,
Aaron.
Sharon, yes.
how do we get something to people who aren't computer literate or don't have accessibility to a computer?
So there'll only be one master form, and maybe one of us takes ownership of it and fills this out as the issues come to us. And then at every meeting, that form would then be called up and we'd look at it and review it.
So the other part of my comments or question is there a way we can have part of those fields automatically populated from what the person puts on the form on the website? Can it generate some sort of a report?
Yes, if created in an Excel and it's put into that, then it would be able to put numbers and other things together to create a report. But I'm not as competent in Excel as others, but I'm sure I could look into it. You know, if we had classifications for each criteria, if this was a sexual harassment issue compared to an employment issue compared to a whatever, we could categorize those with letters or numbers, and then we could report all of the number B, all the number 2s or all the number 4s or that sort of thing. I know I can do that sort of thing and put that together. So maybe we can play with that a little and get someone who's more proficient in the reporting to see if we can pull it together.
Yeah.
A good suggestion, Sharon. I mean, the more we can automate some of this and have different information coming in, populate the fields, I think the better. That ensures more consistency, right?
And less chance for human error and
Yep.
taking the information and putting it on the sheet.
Yep. Okay. I think we're going to learn as we go on this, and if it over time it will kind of evolve. But let's continue to look at trying to mesh different systems. Which brings us to the last topic on the agenda. So, you know, you guys heard me bring up last time, you know, trying to look at the 6 charges that we have as a commission. And the very first one was, you know, researching local problems of people with disabilities. So we just addressed one area, and that is how are we going to track it? And what we started to talk about last time and asked you all to think about this past few weeks was, all right, how do we now get the information out in our community that, hey, we're here, we're open for business, and here, if you've got issues related to this, you need to come to us and we're here for you, right?
Yes.
And I think, you know, folks started to come up with some ideas. We asked you over the last few weeks to think of some of your own. Have people given this any more thought? And if so, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the next issue. And that is, you know, how do we begin to communicate to the town that we're here and we're open for business?
So can you see my share on the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
So both Drew and Gail sent me thoughts that I just cut and pasted onto one page that are here in front of you.
Perfect.
I sent you stuff, Pat. Did you? I guess you didn't get it.
When did you send it, Sharon? I'm so sorry.
Yesterday.
Yeah, possibly I was in Zoom world, stressed out about the meeting last night.
Well, most of what I said was there. I think the one other thing was maybe put some sort of posters up in the supermarkets.
Oh, yeah.
I
Probably worth doing, you know?
I sent in a thing to Pat Armstrong about that.
Okay.
But I think the rest of my ideas are there.
Here's what I'd like to do, because we're up against the clock. We've got about 8 minutes left here. Can I ask Drew, can you kind of summarize your, you know, the comments that are up here that were from you and
Well,
then,
they're the first 4 things. I just, you know, they just, the first things that came into my head probably built on what we had discussed previously, you know, but milestones, you know, the senior center newsletter. And I wonder if in the newspaper, like you, for example, could talk about how this is being reborn in a way. I don't know if that's the term you want to use, but that would,
Resurrected.
right?
resurrected.
resurrected and how it happened and how Evelyn did this, and, you know, or even Evelyn could be interviewed in that way, because I think you were the prime mover, weren't you, Evelyn?
She was.
Mhm.
Make a story, you know, out of it. So I thought that was a good idea. And then maybe if eventually vaccines take hold, it would be appropriate for us to visit places where people living with disabilities might be, other than in their homes, you know, and give in-person visits, you know, but who knows? Maybe by summer that might be possible. I don't know.
Perfect. Thanks, Drew. Gail, you've kind of had some thoughts on this. You want to chime in?
Yeah, I would say that the only educate school children, put a program together
Oh, yeah.
for both the school and the library.
That's good.
Independent organizations that work directly with persons with disabilities and their families, members. And I think Drew already touched on the other ones. Oh, here's another one. Businesses. I think businesses are important. We should reach out to businesses, possibly we can put together a brochure, make it available at the senior center, the town hall, pass out to the Bay of Sound, medical facilities, houses of worship, that kind of thing.
Thanks, Gail. Sharon, I know your comments aren't on the screen, but,
They are now.
oh, okay. Want to talk about them real quick?
Well, publicize it with posters in visible places. I was thinking, who would be seeing people who have physical issues or mental issues, disabilities, the EMTs, the police. I don't think we have anything else that's not represented up here. We definitely have to make the town department heads that town department heads aware that we exist, so that if any of their employees have issues or become aware of issues, start the reporting process.
Gee, that's a good point about police and EMTs, you know. That hadn't computed in my head.
Let me add-
Evelyn, I see your finger.
I had one other thing. I had all of those too, but be a speaker to men's groups, church groups, groups that get together and let them know our facility, our abilities, and how we could help people. And that's more more than the one-on-one, be able to get a whole group at a time.
Well, the Rotary loves a good speaker at 7 a.m. on a Friday morning.
Are you volunteering, Pat?
I'd love to stand behind you, David.
Must have had quite a Rotary meeting today.
Every Friday morning we do.
So the one thought that went through my mind as I gave this a little bit of thought, I don't disagree at all with, you know, getting out, doing speaking engagements. Someone had suggested a video, I think, last time. The only concern I had was at this particular time, would we have enough to really come up with a good presentation, right? So if we were going to speak to Rotary, right, Pat, you know, you want a good 15 or 20 minutes of material. And I still kind of feel like we're still pulling things together. So my only concern was
That was for the future.
right. So, I mean, down the road, we can do it. So I'm going to make a suggestion because we're running out of time. And I'm not quite sure how we can do this logistically. Pat, maybe you can suggest. What I'd like to do is take this list and for each of us for the next meeting, go through and put our top 5 ideas, right?
Do what?
So take this list and identify what are the top 5 things you think we should do right now. And then we'll come back together with all our votes. And I think we'll come up with a list then of what this group thinks are the top 5 items to work on first.
And how are we going to is somebody going to mail us this list?
Well, that's why I'm trying to think logistically how I can do it and not
It could-
run afoul
it
of
could-
town laws and,
You
No,
could
that's
just
fine.
take the email and email us.
I can do that, right, Pat?
Absolutely. And this is right here on, again, my thumb drive. So I could take this after the meeting and send it right to you, and that's fine. This is a packet for a workshop so that next time we come back, we deal with this issue.
Perfect.
That's not against any of the rules.
All right.
Rules are you all sit together and say, you know, should we spend $100 to do X or Y? You talk all about it, you decide it's Y, and then when you go publicly into a meeting, just like you've never talked about it, you bring it up and say, oh, let's all go Y. But you've talked about it off screen. That's where the conflict of interest issue, that's where the open meeting law gets pushed. So if 3 of you like something and 4 of you don't, the 3 or 4 can't meet and decide how we're going to win it. That's against the rules, right? You got to do it in an open discussion.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. So everyone understands what's going to happen. Then I will send out to the group a list. And you just need to mark of all the items on the list, pick what you think are the top 5 things we should start doing first in terms of getting word out about us being open for business. We'll then collect all of that and tabulate it. And from that, we should have a consensus of what the top 5 things are. And that will become our kind of working document, how we go forward. Is it everyone good on that?
Fine.
Yes.
Excellent. All right. So time to set the next meeting date.
December 15th is the 3rd Friday, but it comes in on a Friday. January 1 is a Friday. So it would be then the 8th and the 15th. I would suggest we take the 15th.
January
not December.
15th is what I'm hearing. Let me just see my schedule.
January 1st is the New Year's Day. It's a Friday.
Yeah, so
Right. So we meet on the 3rd. No, we meet on the 2nd. So you're suggesting we meet on the 3rd Friday in January.
Yeah,
Right.
why
I
shouldn't
don't
we?
think that's.
Why
But the
shouldn't we
staff
go-
people, isn't that right before Martin Luther King holiday?
It is, very much so, yes, it
That's
is.
not- but it's the sake of the people on staff. I remember from when I worked, I'd rather have it the 8th, and so that way they don't have all sorts of stuff going into a break.
I just thought that the 8th might have been difficult.
I know,
That's fine.
but you know, a lot of times people want the extra day, stretch the weekend.
Is there a holiday on the 15th?
Yes,
The
ma'am.
the
17th,
holiday on the 18th,
18th,
Monday.
didn't-
Martin Luther King. So
Well,
just-
the 8th then.
no, so I would rather keep it the 8th.
Okay.
Evelyn, it was a good thought, but I think what I'm hearing is everyone's okay with the 8th.
Right.
And we're being consistent with being the 2nd Friday of every month.
Right.
So we'll make it December 8th, I mean, January 8th, sorry.
2021.
2020, yeah, I'm glad to get rid of 2020. Thank you very much.
Everybody's gonna be.
All right, so we're up against our clock. I want to thank everyone again. Thank you to our town officials for joining us and helping us get our act together and stay on the straight and narrow. Thank you to the committee and to the subcommittees. I like working with this group. I feel like the more times we meet, the more times we kind of get together, that things are starting to gel here. And I like how we work. I like how we think, and the sharing of communication and thoughts and ideas is, I'm really sensing that we're starting to come together. So I'm really happy about that. Unless there's anything else, I'm going to take a roll call that we adjourn, right? Yes, I need to do that.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, a
Second.
second. Thank you, Drew.
Who seconded it?
Drew.
Oh, thank
Drew.
you.
All right, so roll call, Dave Botting, myself, yes. Gail, Charette,
Yes.
Evelyn Beal,
Yes.
Drew Kraus,
Yes.
and Sharon Ladley.
Yes.
All right, so it looks like we're adjourned. One last thing, because I really feel embarrassed about it. I have to apologize to both Evelyn and Gail for my faux pas at the start of our meeting. 20 lashes for me. I apologize.
I forgot already.
Okay.
Yeah. So did
Everyone
I.
have a good holiday, and stay safe, and we'll see you at the new year.
Thank you
Thank you,
very
David.
much.
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Here.
Thanks, everybody.
We
Take
hope-
care now.
Stay positive, test negative.
All
I
right.
like
I
that, Pat.
just heard that one, Pat. It's fabulous.
Yeah,
And-
That's good.
Bye-bye.
bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.